We like to believe that our memories are a faithful record of our lives. We think they serve as a warning system to keep us safe. If someone hurt us, we should remember the pain. If a period of our life was chaotic, we should feel relief that it is over. But instead, you find yourself staring at old photos with a hollow ache in your chest. You remember the very people who broke you. You filter out the screaming, the lies, and the coldness. You only see the flashes of light that occurred between the shadows. By all logic, you should feel a sense of victory for having escaped. You should be grateful for the peace you have now, but the peace feels empty, and the memories feel like home. You are experiencing a haunting nostalgia for your own destruction. Most people call this trauma bonding or unresolved grief. They tell you that you simply haven't healed from the past yet. They suggest therapy, closure letters, or moving on. They think your heart is just being sentimental about a ghost, but your heart is not sentimental. It is a muscle. And your brain is not a scrapbook. It is a chemical factory. You are not missing a person or a time. You are missing the specific chemical storm that your body produced during that chaos. The truth is that your brain has categorized your greatest pains as your most significant achievements in survival. You are addicted to the high of the rescue. You are nostalgic for the moment the pain finally stopped, not the person who caused it. This is the hidden trap of the human memory. We do not remember the trauma. We remember the relief that followed the trauma. You are currently living in a peaceful present that feels boring because it lacks the sharp, jagged edges of your past. You might wonder why you would ever want to go back to a burning house. It feels like a sickness of the soul. We call this the survivalist's longing. Your mind confuses the intensity of a threat with the intensity of an importance. Most creators will tell you how to let go of the past. They want to give you a map to a future you aren't ready for. On this channel, we do not care about letting go. We care about the cold, biological reasons why your hands won't open. If you are ready to stop being ashamed of the darkness you miss, you have found the only place for this truth. Stop living in the dark. Join those who seek to understand the machine rather than trying to pray it away. Click the subscribe button now. It is the decision to stop being a victim of your memory and start being its observer. By subscribing, you are acknowledging that your nostalgia is a weapon being used against your current happiness. Now that you have stepped into this clarity, we must look at why your brain creates these golden filters for your scars. The reason you miss the person who hurt you isn't because they were special. It is because they were a reliable chemical trigger. Your survival instinct has linked the highest peaks of your adrenaline with the deepest parts of your identity. But what happens when you realize that your fondest memories are actually just the echoes of your own terror? The answer lies in the cold logic of the nervous system. To understand why you crave the ghost, we must look deeper. You know what your brain does to the memories of the people who nearly ended you? It doesn't throw them away. It polishes them. It turns the weapons into trophies to justify why you stayed in the line of fire for so long. To understand why your brain keeps the ghost alive, we must look at the logic of the collector. Your mind is a storage unit for intensity. The human nervous system is not designed for happiness. It is designed for the detection of significant life events that threaten our continuity. In the wild, a neutral day is a forgotten day. A day where nothing tried to kill you is a day that leaves no trace. But a day where you narrowly escaped a predator is burned into your circuitry. That memory is a high-value asset for future survival. Your brain treats the people who hurt you as the most significant data points in your history. They are the giants in your landscape. When you are in a toxic cycle, your body is flooded with a cocktail of stress hormones. You are living in a state of hyperarousal. This intensity creates a deep chemical engraving on your neurons. Your brain registers this high-voltage state as being truly alive. Peace, by comparison, is low voltage. It is a flat line on the heart monitor of your subconscious. It feels like a slow death. The evolutionary logic is cold. If you are bored, you are not scanning for danger. If you are not scanning, you are vulnerable. So when the present becomes too quiet, your brain reaches back into the archives. It pulls out the high-voltage memories to spark a reaction. It doesn't care that the memories are painful. It only cares that they are stimulating enough to keep the system online and alert. This is why you remember the make-up sex, but forget the 3 days of silence that preceded it. The brain prioritizes the peak. Ask yourself this: if that person was truly as wonderful as you remember, why did you spend so much time crying in the dark? Did they actually provide you with warmth, or were you just shivering so hard that their body heat felt like a miracle? Your brain is a master of peak-end theory. It remembers the most intense moment and the final moment and ignores the rest. By sanitizing the memory, your brain makes the pain look like a small price to pay for the high of the reconciliation. It turns a series of traumatic events into a narrative of passionate struggle. It gives the suffering a sense of noble purpose. You are nostalgic for the version of yourself that was capable of surviving that much pressure. You miss the heroic survivor you were. In your current peaceful life, you feel small and unnecessary. You miss the high stakes of the war because the war gave you a role. Without an enemy to manage or a fire to put out, you don't know where to put your energy. You feel like a weapon without a target. Does it feel like your peace is actually just a waiting room for the next catastrophe? Are you pacing the floor? Your brain is nostalgic for the trauma because the trauma provided a clear objective: stay alive. Everything else was secondary. Now that you are safe, the objectives are blurred. You have to decide what your life means, and that responsibility is terrifying. You crave the ghost because the ghost was a distraction from the void of your own internal silence. The ghost filled the room. Even if they filled it with smoke and glass, it was better than the emptiness you feel when you are alone with yourself. You are not pining for a lover. You are pining for the adrenaline that made you forget how much you hated your own life. It is a mechanical pull toward the familiar electricity. Your brain is trying to jump-start a heart that has grown cold in the quiet. But what does this constant rewinding of the tape do to your ability to inhabit the present moment? What is the cost of the replay? You are living as a prisoner of your own highlights reel. You are a tourist in a past that would kill you if you actually returned. We are about to look at the invisible damage this chemical nostalgia causes to your perception of what love actually looks like. The damage is not in the missing. The damage is in the way your brain is redefining safety as suffering. Are you prepared to see how your memories are currently sabotaging every new person who tries to enter your life? The invisible damage of this chemical nostalgia is that it ruins your ability to recognize true health. You have been calibrated for the extreme. Because your past was a series of explosions, a steady flame now feels like a cold room. You are losing your taste for peace. You have developed a psychological blindness to consistency. You mistake a lack of drama for a lack of chemistry or a lack of depth. You are allowed to acknowledge that you have become bored by the very stability you once prayed for when you were in the fire. You have permission to see that your definition of passion is actually just a synonym for the feeling of being hunted by another person. The tragedy of this nostalgia is that it creates a benchmark for love that no healthy human being could ever possibly meet. A person who treats you well will never produce the high-voltage panic that your brain has come to associate with. They are not a threat, so they do not trigger the adrenaline. And without the adrenaline, your brain refuses to mark them as important. You are effectively ghosting your own life in favor of a memory that was designed to be a warning, not a destination. You are comparing a real, flawed, and quiet person to a polished chemical fantasy of a monster you've turned into a god. Each time you indulge in this nostalgia, you are reinforcing the idea that your best days are behind you and buried in rubble. You are eroding your capacity for the present. You are becoming a person who lives entirely in the rearview mirror of their own pain. The identity you are building is one of a tragic survivor. You find more comfort in being the one who was hurt than the one who is okay. You are allowed to feel the frustration of being trapped in a cycle where your own mind is your most persistent and clever stalker. This frustration is the sound of your spirit trying to break through the chemical fog that your survival instinct has laid down. But the instinct is patient. It tells you that the person from your past was the only one who truly understood your darkness. It makes you believe that the intensity of the trauma was a form of intimacy that you can never find in the sunlight. You are living in a loop where the only way to feel seen is to find someone who will recreate the familiar scars. It is a slow, quiet suicide of the soul. You are choosing to starve in a garden because you miss the taste of the desert. You have permission to see that this longing is a lie. It is the same lie an addict tells themselves about their first high. The consequences of this are a life lived in a state of permanent comparison. No one is ever enough because no one is the ghost. You are allowed to see that this process is deeply lonely. Even when you are with someone new, you are still holding hands with the past. What happens when you finally realize that the golden era you miss was actually just a period of high-functioning terror? What if the person you were back then wasn't more alive, but simply closer to the edge of a total and permanent collapse? The damage is done. Your brain has built a temple out of the bones of your worst experiences, and you are the only worshiper. You are reaching a point where the nostalgia is no longer a comfort. It is a cage that is keeping you from your own evolution. Are you prepared to see the hollow reality of the person you are pining for when the golden filter is finally stripped away? We are entering the final layer of this recognition. It is the moment where the ghost is forced to step into the cold light. The recognition of your nostalgia is the moment you realize that the person you miss never actually existed in the way you remember. You are not mourning a relationship. You are mourning the version of yourself that was still hopeful enough to stay in the fire. Now, you see the past for what it truly was. It was a period of frantic, high-stakes management of a person who was fundamentally unstable. The golden moments you revisit were merely the brief pauses between the strikes, the short breaths of air before being pushed back under. You have achieved the ultimate goal of the survival instinct. You have turned a horrific ordeal into a legendary epic that you can never leave. There is no risk of a new betrayal because you are too busy reliving the old one. You are safe in the cold embrace of a ghost. The nostalgia you feel is not a sign of love. It is the signature of a nervous system that has forgotten how to be calm without being bored. You look in the mirror and realize that the reason you miss them is because they allowed you to avoid the terrifying work of being happy. The real you is the one who feels a strange, shameful sense of comfort when you think about the nights you spent crying. This is the haunting clarity of the survivor. You are not a victim of your memory. You are the one keeping the fire burning. You choose the ghost because the ghost is predictable. The ghost cannot surprise you with new demands or unexpected kindness. There is no advice to give because you cannot convince a moth that the flame is not a star. You can only watch the wings burn. You will likely meet someone who offers you a genuine, quiet, and consistent love. You will feel a spark of hope and a sense of relief. And then, with the cold precision of an addict, you will compare their steady hand to the violent grip of the past, and you will find them lacking. The cycle is not a mistake. It is the way your brain ensures that you never have to face the terrifying emptiness of a life without a struggle. You realize now that the connection you felt was just the shared heat of a house that was burning down around both of you. You were always the one who was going to look back. You were the one who made the trauma the foundation of your entire identity. The people who hurt you were never your soulmates. They were just the people who were there when your survival instinct was triggered. The truth is that you don't actually want to move on. You want to stay in the wreckage where the rules are clear and the pain is familiar. Every time you scroll through those old messages, you are casting a vote for the person you were before you knew any better. It is a lonely victory, but it is the only one you know how to celebrate. You are the undisputed curator of your own museum of scars. You will go to bed tonight in the quiet of a present that you have poisoned with the gold of a past that nearly killed you. You will tell yourself that you just loved too much, but you will know in the dark that you were just too afraid of the silence. The nostalgia for the ghost is now the only thing that makes you feel deep. The rest of your life feels like a shallow performance. You will continue to be the architect of your own haunting because the alternative is a freedom you are not brave enough to inhabit. The realization is cold and permanent. You are the only person who can stop the replay, and you are the only person who keeps pressing play. The machine will keep humming. The filter will keep darkening. The ghost will keep standing in the corner of every room you enter, and you will stand in the middle of your peace, looking at the door, waiting for the monster to come back and make you feel alive again. You are safe now. You are untouched. You are a masterpiece of chemical longing that no one will ever be allowed to cure. In the end, we don't miss the people who broke us because they were good. We miss them because they were the last thing we felt before we went numb. It is much easier to be the one who remembers than the one who has to figure out who they are in the quiet of the now. The room is silent now. The ghost is waiting. The nostalgia has finally become the only thing you have left to call your home. I wonder if you'll still be looking for that old fire when you finally realize that the ash is all that's left of the person you used to be. You have won the battle against the quiet, and now you have the rest of your life to live in the golden glow of your own destruction. The door is open, but you are not leaving. You are waiting for someone who isn't coming back to tell you it's okay to go. We are so addicted to the intensity of our past that we treat our present like a waiting room for a catastrophe that has already happened. Perhaps the most haunting realization is that your nostalgia isn't a bridge back to love, but a wall keeping you from ever experiencing it again. If you were truly free of the ghost tomorrow, would you even know what to do with the silence?